The Boxer Codex is a late 16th century Spanish manuscript that was produced in the Philippines. The Codex consists of 612 pages, 314 with text, 97 with hand-drawn illustrations, 4 missing, and 197 blanks, hence the editor's hypothesis regarding its unfinished state. Its 22 sections, of which 5 have known authors, contain narratives, short captions, and illustrations about places, peoples, and customs.
The book was the name after the historian Charles Ralph Baxter, who purchased the manuscript in 1947 and published a paper in 1950 about the importance of what he called the Manila manuscript. The Boxer Codex is a late 16th century manuscript with colored illustrations of people from China, Philippines, Java, Malucas, Ladrones, and Siam. It also covers mythical deities and animals. The book comes in the original Spanish text, and then on the opposite page there are English translations.
The man told the woman that would marry each other in order to multiply and have a little children. Later the woman became the pregnant and gave the birth, wanted to large a number of boys and girls. They stayed in the house and did not nothing to support themselves, much less that the parents. Thus the parents become angry and their children and decided to throw them out of the house.
Bayog priest conducting ritual. The Indios offer everything to the Anito, which is they call soul when they invoke it. All of this is administered by a male priest, and female garb they call him Bayog or Bayugi. If the woman is needed for the same office, she is called Catalona. This feast terminates when everybody or most of them get drunk. This is called Maganito. By the Indios, although these Indios have no temples, they have priests and priestesses who are the principal minister of their ceremonies, rite, and omens, to whom all the important affairs are entrusted. Visayan customs for marriage and divorce. If one wants to unmarry his wife, he can do so by leaving her with what he gave her at the time of marriage, which price they call bigay, in which in Spain we call it dowry. If it is the woman who wants to unmarry, she keeps nothing, and any one of the two can later remarry.
If the Maganito is held for a sick person, they lay him down with the children surrounding him, and sing and dance with a shawl in their hands, gesticulating wildly. They are aided by other native women who do nothing more than dance and return to their places, and the mistress of this ceremony stays at the side of the sick person and talks to herself, making many gestures almost in a trance. She then comes to up and approaches the sick person and anoints his head and the other parts of his body with oil, telling him that the Anito will give him health. Once the Maganito is finished, the sick person partakes of the food and the saucers together with his children and other members of his household, and there their neighbors come asking for the leftovers, as if it were blessed bread. And when the Maganito is not for a sick person, but for a betrothal or harvest, each man wears all the gold and precious gems he possesses, and the women bedeck themselves with all their jewelry. They hold their wedding gatherings in the groom's house or in the house of their father-in-law.
The writing system used by Tagalogs are unique and has its own distinct characteristic that they used back then. They have specific characters that serve as an alphabet for them to write whatever they desire, which is very important as writing is essential for us people. These characters appear completely different from the ones we are used with in today's generation. Most women are the ones who know how to write with them compared to men, and they write on top of the bark of specific types of bamboo present on the islands. They do not write with ink as we do, but rather using a stylus that cracks the surface and barks of the bamboo to write their alphabet accordingly. They only have 17 letters in total available for this purpose. Each letter is a syllable, and by placing specific little points to one side or the other of a letter, or above or below, they may build words through this way, combining each syllable and write and state whatever they wish to write on their respective writing board.
Tagalog morning rituals. The widow of a chief covers herself with a curtain and in 4 days eats nothing. Because it is said, if this is not done, he would turn mad. During the time, priest dances around the mourner while chanting. If the deceased person or his parents had slaves, they all shaved their heads in mourning, and all the male's relatives, likewise the female relatives, cut their hair but only partly.
The Zambal head hunting practices. When the Zambales natives found their victim, they immediately removed the victim's head after killing them, incise it in a crown pattern with a bararao, and suck the victim's brains out. They then save the head or skull as a prized item and trophy, signifying the number of men they have killed. The more men they have killed, and the more cruelties they have inflicted, the greater their honor. And he who has the most trophy become the most revered and thus considered the bravest and most courageous.
The Boxer Codex is perhaps the clearest picture we have of the lives of pre-colonial Filipinos and the society of early modern Asia, apart from telling us about the people and places described within its accounts. The book also teaches us about those who authored it, the inspirations and the worldviews of the adventurers who sought to conquer the region of the Spanish era. The Boxer Codex remains a rare treasure as an artifact of our early history.